Been good, yeah. Trying to
Yeah,
stay busy.
yeah, why is that?
Just trying to make some money over the summer, you know?
Yeah. Where are you
So
at? Are you down in are you at home or are you up in the
I'm in
cities?
St. Cloud. Yeah, I'm in Minnesota right now.
Okay.
St. Cloud. It's like
Yeah.
45 minutes away from the
Okay.
cities, but yeah, I've been back and forth kind of just training and then coaching a little bit so I can just kind of stay busy, you know?
Yeah. Coaching where?
So I'm coaching at like a Pursuit Wrestling Club.
Okay.
It's a growing club around here, and then a couple other places like Maple Lake, and then tomorrow I'm going to Brainerd, and then I've been doing some camps too. So
Sheesh.
been been a lot, but it's fun.
Yeah. What are you showing? Okay, so they call you up and go, "Hey Joel, you want to come to our clinic and show some technique? What are you showing?"
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of like that little Levi Haynes like instead of the elbow pass, he's doing like the head roll and he's keeping it on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that a lot because I always like in high school I always like the what was it, elbow pass, and then guys getting really good at shucking. So then
Mm-hmm.
I found out that's been working for me a lot, and then I'll just bunch of baseline stuff, some pretty simple single legs, high crotches, stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you worked with like all ages so
Yeah, it's
far?
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Today we had a camp at Pursuit, and then like I thought it was gonna be all like high school kids, but they come in, it's like third and like fourth graders, and that was pretty tough. But then I go to it's so different because then I go into practice tonight in Maple Lake, and it's high schoolers, and it's like so much easier to show stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun though. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
see you
always,
got I see you
what?
got the Nate Jesuroga shirt on. Let's
Oh,
go. That thing's sick.
wow, I
Hey,
do. Look at that.
what a coincidence.
What are the odds? It's just a shirt I found in my closet. I thought I might as well throw it on, huh? Who knew?
That's
You
pretty
know him?
sweet. Oh yeah, just a
Yeah,
little
you know
bit.
what? Yeah, okay, so to be honest, a little flex of my own. I've lost a little bit of weight, and so the shirt finally fits again. So I've been
Yeah,
like extra excited to keep wearing
it
it, but obviously
looks good.
I thought I'd wear it this time around. Yeah, I mean, when he was coming through, I don't remember the last time somebody from Iowa made a world team,
Yeah,
honestly. And obviously when they did, it wasn't they weren't selling shirts or something. So I was like, of course, yes. I wanted a Wyatt
yeah,
Volker one too, but I never got one of those. But and
yeah. I
Keeter, I
wanted
don't think I've got a Keeter one, but
the Keter one's pretty tough. I like that one. I haven't seen
yeah.
that Nate Jesuroga one in a little bit. That I gotta pull mine out. I wonder where it's at. I gotta find mine. That thing's
Yeah,
sweet.
I like I said, I've kept it in my closet for long. Like it's probably a shirt I'll never get rid of, you know.
Yeah,
For this reason, of like, oh man, look at that's. An old shirt. Wow.
yeah,
Um, I wanted to ask you, I guess, like, so there's first off about your family, because there's Sarah and Nate, but then
yeah.
there's you, Joel,
Uh,
Jed, James, and Justice, and I'm just like, what's up with Sarah and Nate? What, like,
yeah. You did your research. That's funny. Everyone always asks and like, oh, you have so many siblings, and so yeah. So Sarah and Nate, I guess they're just the ones that they didn't get the J. So I don't really know there was really never actually a reason for it. I don't even know why,
mhm.
but yeah, I actually I don't know. And you know what's funny is I even asked. I really even never asked my parents like, hey, why do they not have J's in their name either? But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's all like Bible names, and then they like the J, and then somehow Nate and Sarah came about. But Sarah's
gotcha.
actually the oldest. She's the first one, so she came out. It was Sarah first. She's the original, and
Hmm.
then James, Joel, and then Nate, and then went back to Jay. So kind of funny.
Oh, okay. So that is funny that like it started with Sarah and then the Jays came, but then all of a sudden Nate is just like what? Well,
The cho
Nathaniel, I guess it's Nathaniel,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know,
The chosen one came out of nowhere.
is
Yeah.
that what you call him?
No, that I just came in with that myself, but that's yeah, a little bit. But
So we know kind of about like you and now Jess, or Justice, sorry, is
Yeah.
coming up, and then there's Jed and Nate. Like, what about James and Sarah? I feel like they're kind of the two Jesurogas that, at this point are a little unknown. What do they
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. Well, so Sarah, she's the oldest. Um, she she played soccer growing up, and then she ended up going to nursing school, and then now she's married. She has two kids, and then she lives in Iowa. She lived in Texas for a while because originally we lived in Texas. Like I grew up in Texas, and then we moved to Iowa, um, and then she ended up moving with her husband to Iowa. So she lives like 10 minutes away from us, so that's nice. And then James kind of the how do you say that? What am I trying to say here? It set
He
the
paved,
he
yeah,
kind of paved the way. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yep.
He he's the oldest, and then we all looked up to him. We were really big into like soccer when we were young. Like he was
Mhm.
like getting offers to go play in like Brazil and stuff.
No
Um,
kidding.
yeah, and then he was really good. Me and Nate played. We were pretty good, but like not at his level. And then so he kind of stuck with that, and then until we switched to wrestling, and then it turned out like uh we kind of switched all the way. My dad was kind of like, all right, well, you guys can be kind of average at one thing, or you can be really, really good at or you can be average at a couple things, you can be really, really good at one thing. So he's like, you kind
Hmm.
of have to choose here. So then he's the first one that started wrestling. Him and Nate actually, they started wrestling like a year and a half before me because I didn't want. I was so against wrestling at the time.
Hmm.
I liked it. I wrestled with them, but I never competed and do anything like that. I was into soccer like at the time, and then he wrestled through high school, and then he ended up like he got into a little bit of trouble. He ended up going to prison actually for a couple years. So that happened, and then me and Nate got really big into wrestling kind of around that time. And then we kind of so Nate he went to a Man of Steel camp, the Seabolt Man of Steel camp.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of what set it off. Me me and him we're talking about it, and then my dad we were like, well, there's good wrestling in Texas. Like we were finding good partners and everything, but really the place to be right now is Seabolt Wrestling Academy in Iowa. So my dad was already in like transitioning jobs, so he was like, uh, let's just move to Iowa. So we ended up doing that, and then yeah, kind of from there. We so at
What?
high, yeah.
No, so
So
you were living in Texas, and then you somehow found this Man of Steel camp, the Seabolt camp,
yeah.
and that's when you were like, well,
Well,
let's move.
we were already kind of planning on moving anyways, because
Mhm.
my dad he was switching jobs, and he was kind of find out where to move to next, and then all that happened, and then that's that summer, and he was like, hey, like you guys want to move to Iowa? We were like, yeah, let's do it. So high school, I moved to Iowa my ninth grade year, so I started out. I really went to high school in Iowa. They went his eighth grade year. So then, yeah, kind of grew up in Texas, but like really took off wrestling in Iowa. So
Well, let's rewind. I want to rewind even farther because I think it was on your Iowa profile. Because yes, I did a little homework. But it said
okay.
you were born in LA.
Yeah, I was. That's a story. So we were moved like crazy. So when we were young, so my dad was a pastor.
Okay.
That's how he met my mom. My mom was like a Bible study leader, like something like youth group leader, something like that. And then so my dad was a pastor, and then he was going through seminary. Seminary was in California. That's where they I don't know if they met there, but that's kind of where they met, or that's kind of I think that's where they got married. It's for sure where they got married. And then they had Sarah, me, or Sarah, James, and then me. And then I lived in LA. We lived in LA for like 2 years, and then we go from there moved to Colorado for like a year because that's where my grandma lived, and then Denver, Colorado. So my dad was doing his pastor job there, and then eventually we actually moved to Maine for a little bit because
It's wild.
it's crazy, and then because he was just like so basically he was just like wherever the church needed him,
Hmm.
it was kind of he would just move there, and then we would just do that. And then Nate was born in Minnesota, which is crazy because I never thought I would be here. Kind of insane. Duluth, Minnesota. Moved there, and then from there to Texas. So so I kind of grew up in Texas because that all those movies kind of happened like pretty like it was like years apart. So
Mm-hmm.
don't really remember much from. I do remember stuff, but not really much from those places. Texas is really where like I grew up. So that's kind of what I claim.
Wow. So then
Yeah.
you end up in Iowa, but how did things? So is he still a pastor? Did he just find like a fellowship or whatever? Not whatever, but did he find like a church in Pleasant Hill? Is that and
No.
like you were
So
able to stay there or what?
no. So so that's why he was moving out of being a pastor.
Okay.
Yeah, so he kind of wanted to get out of like the ministry a little bit, so that's kind of what got us to Iowa. And then yeah, he's still doing that now. So
What's
yeah,
he doing? So what's he doing now?
so right now he's into like real estate.
Oh, okay.
But he was doing like HVAC and then electrician work too at the time. Now he's into real estate. My family owns like some apartment complexes actually in Hawaii and then in Denver. So his dad lived in Hawaii, bought some apartments, and then so now he's managing those and then the ones in Denver too. So that's kind of his main thing now. He's kind of he still does the HVAC from time to time, but his main thing is really the apartments. So and my mom's a teacher, so
Nice.
yeah.
And how did you end up like in Pleasant Hill to begin with? Like, did Siebold have the academy at that time in that area, or was he still just in Jefferson?
He was so at that time they were in like we were training out of Ames, like Iowa State, and then Nyack. But
Oh yeah.
we were like just looking for good high schools, and then that's when we met Jake Agnich, and then Jason Christian was the coach at the time, and they were like, well, this is the best place. Corey Clark went there, Kay DeVos, Lance Runyon, all those guys. We were like, all right, let's go to Southeast Polk. So pretty
That's
crazy.
Right.
But
So how did you run into like Agnich and Christensen? I mean, was that just by chance or? Because I mean,
it was,
you were free agents, man. You could have went. I mean,
oh
almost
yeah,
you can win anywhere.
we could have ended up at the old Waverly Shell Rock. I mean, that,
Yes.
so no, I don't really know how we got connected to Jake. It must have been through TJ. I don't really know all the lore from back then, honestly, but I just know we were like, my dad was like, hey, like there's this really good high school. You guys want to train at Siebold? Like we can move down there to Pleasant Hill, and then like basically in like a summer we were moved to Iowa, and then just never looked back. So
Where were you
pretty
living
cool.
at in Texas?
Like Dallas area, DFW, so like Dallas Fort Worth, little suburb called Keller, Texas. So yeah,
And
I really like Texas a lot.
yeah, and you were into soccer, not football. How was football down there? Like, was football is it
Crazy.
as insane as it? Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely crazy. The school that Bo Nickel went to, Allen, Texas,
Yeah.
we would go there sometimes for some of the practices, and like their stadium was like a full, like it looked like a college stadium. Like it's so crazy there. But yeah, baseball, soccer, football, just insane. So never got my older brother James, he played a little football. I never got into it. Just played soccer, and then yeah.
So then how did the wrestling train start? I mean, it sounds like you wanted your brother set the stage, right, James? Here he is playing soccer, he's really good. Like, how did then you guys even get to wrestling? Because wrestling isn't I don't want to say it's not a thing in Texas because it is, but
Yeah.
it's more of a niche thing than it is.
Yeah, for sure. So we had a family friend, he wrestled. We were really close to their family. They went to our church actually, and he wrestled. And then slowly, he was like, "Hey, you guys come try out this practice. You guys come try this practice." And then at first we were kind of we were a little against it, but then we started going in, and then Nate started really getting into it. James started really getting into it, and then it all like from there it just took off. So credit it to Dylan Thomas back in Texas. So yeah.
What got you into it? Because you seem like you were a little late to come around. Did you just just not like it? Where you know, sometimes you're losing a lot. You don't feel like you're getting any better. You're getting your butt kicked. You're like, this sucks. You know?
Yeah. Well, see, at the time I was like, that was when I thought my soccer career was taking off at the time, right? Like I was playing for like select, like the feeder teams into like the FC Dallas, which is one of the MLS teams for Texas. So I was doing pretty well, and then everyone else started enjoying wrestling. I'm like, hey, I'm not done with this yet. Like I'm doing pretty good here, and then it just turned out like so I I didn't even start wrestling folk style. I started wrestling in the summer, freestyle. Went out there, I think I got whooped up a couple times, and I was like, Dad, I'm not doing this. Like, this sucks. And he was like, well, you don't have to do it, but you like, if you want to be really good at it, you're gonna have to like quit like the soccer thing, and you're gonna have to really focus on this. And eventually, I was super against it. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna keep playing soccer. And then as soon we all started going in the room, we started getting better. I saw myself getting better, and then I was like, all right, wrestling's pretty fun. So yeah.
You know, I will say this though. I played 2 years of soccer in high school. So I'm from Monona, Iowa, which is way northeast Iowa. MFO Marmac High School. I moved right before my junior year. I moved to Monticello, and they had a soccer program. And so I was like, sure, yeah, I'll do soccer for a couple of years. So I did soccer my junior and senior year. And I tell you what, scoring a goal, I mean,
it's the greatest.
It's a pretty awesome feeling.
It's the greatest thing. Yeah.
And unless you've done it, you don't know. But like, I don't know. It's silly.
Yeah, and people don't like. I wish more people knew about like how cool the sport of soccer is. Like it's and I think that soccer is really what made me, Nate, like say really we were able to take soccer and make it like it helped us in our wrestling a lot, because just the footwork, the ability to move from side to side. There's misdirection in soccer. There's like it's physical, like if you're playing at a high level, and then just high pace, like. So yeah, soccer is a really cool sport. To this day I still watch it. I keep up with it. So yeah, I wish I could have played a little soccer in high school, honestly, but I didn't. Our team wasn't very good in high school, but I was always thinking about it. I was like, maybe I should play a little soccer here, but I just never ended up, because you're doing all the freestyle stuff. So
yeah. Oh, what a shame. That would have been cool just to give it a go like once, you know.
100%. Yeah, just for fun, you know. But
yeah, and that's why I did it, you know, like I did cross country and I did wrestling, and like I'm not going to say I didn't try in soccer, but like I really pushed myself in those two sports. So soccer was more of my fun, it's hang out, like obviously I'm trying because I want to win, I'm competitive and all that, but like, you know, there wasn't quite as intense as like wrestling was. So it was kind of my sport that was kind of fun. But
yeah, that was in Iowa, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like, I wish Iowa had a little bit better soccer, so people, because I try to tell everyone, even from my house, I'm the guys, like soccer is one of the coolest. It is the coolest sport, maybe besides for wrestling and a couple other sports out there. And I feel like all the kids from Iowa are kind of like, I don't know, like it kind of seems kind of like, but it's a sport of the world. So
yeah. Yeah. Do you have like an international team or a Premier League or anything like that you follow?
Yeah, I like growing up I was a big Barca fan just because Messi, and then now I'm starting to I like watching Man City, so Man City, and then obviously like anytime Ronaldo's playing for Portugal or Messi's playing for Argentina, always watching those games. So yeah.
What about an MLS team?
I still like, I keep up with FC Dallas. So
yeah. What about Miami? Because they didn't.
Miami, yeah. I like Messi's there. I've been keeping up with that a little bit too, for sure.
Yeah.
But MLS not so much. I wish it was a little bit bigger, but
yeah, it seems like it's slowly growing. You know.
It is, yeah.
You know.
I think Messi like helped that. I think
for sure
he plays a huge part in that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like the way Caitlin Clark has made the WNBA. I mean, you see what she has done. You know, it's the same thing with Messi. I mean, people in America don't get to watch Messi every day. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's pretty cool.
Oh, totally. Like when my nephew, he's big into soccer. But he has a Ronaldo jersey, and I'm like, you got to get a Messi one. He's the best of all time, you know.
That's what I say too. That's funny. You said that. I was talking to these kids today actually at camp, and they were like, "Who's your favorite soccer player?" Because I was actually wearing my Man City. I was wearing my Man City jersey. And they're like, "Who's your favorite soccer player?" I was like, "It has to be Messi. Like he's the GOAT." And they were trying to tell me like, "Oh no, Ronaldo." It's like Ronaldo. That's not even your time. Like you don't even know. Have you even watched a full game? I like Ronaldo. I'm not like, but if you really watch Messi, you know like.
Yeah, it's Messi. I am surprised that you wore a non-wrestling shirt to a wrestling camp. I mean, I'm sure people have, but like that is very uncommon. Like when you go to a wrestling camp, whoever's the technician or the coach or the clinician is always wearing just all decked out in wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
So here comes Joel Jesuroga up in his freaking Messi shirt or Man City shirt.
Yeah, I've been doing that more recently. I've been wearing the soccer kits when I wrestle. Like it's a jersey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I like doing that, and then it also like it gets people talking about the sport, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still a big soccer fan, so that'll never change.
Yeah, what position did you play?
Midfielder. Growing up, I was on that left wing, and then as soon as I was always a little bit smaller than everyone. Everyone started growing, and then I got into the midfielder a little bit, and then I started being able to distribute the ball, and then so midfield.
Yeah, that's where I played too because I ran cross country and could just run up and down the field. So I just had stamina, I guess.
Yeah, which is also a great reason why wrestling or soccer helps for wrestling and a lot of other sports. You're constantly running. You know?
Yeah. Some of those guys, I can't. And gals, like when you watch like the World Cup or like soccer on that stage or football, I guess I should say. The field is massive, and I don't think you realize how big the field is because they're only showing so much on the television screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they zoom out or when you see like full screen, like the field, it is just it's massive.
Huge.
You know, we played on like a football field, which isn't even near the size of an actual so anyway,
those stadiums are massive too. They're crazy. The stadiums they play in, pretty wild.
Yeah, and the fans are just it's like nonstop. You know?
Yeah, craziest fans in any sport, like for sure. Have you heard of like the ultras or whatever? Like they have like a name for them. So they call it like in the European countries they don't call them like the soccer fans. They'll say like these are the ultras, and like they'll bring out like their banners. So they'll bring like the little like stuff that what are the stuff that like shoot? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they're crazy.
Yeah, they shoot like confetti or something.
Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. But even like the wings that shoot like the fireworks, they'll bring that out to the games. Yeah, I don't know how they let them in there, but
right.
I've seen it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we have so I live in Omaha now, and we have it's like a soccer team, but I think they're like a step below like FC Kansas City and all them.
I know,
So we have Omaha here, and they're wild. They're nonstop banging on drums. They have like there's people on drums on. It's just it's crazy, a whole different experience, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, soccer. Yeah, right. And that could have been you. That could have been you.
I know. And making a lot more money.
Right. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I ask myself that sometimes.
So you move. Was it difficult to move to Iowa around that time? I mean, that's a pretty big change for, what were you, 14 at the time?
Yeah. So it was, I don't know. I think it would have been more difficult if but the people that I was around, like my friends, were just great. Like immediately, like I took the team, and then the whole high school, like it was like the transition. I thought I was way more nervous about the transition than actually I should have been. Like the transition was actually pretty easy compared to like what I thought it was going to be. So I give a lot of credit to my friends, Carson and Carter Martinson. they just transferred to Wartburg.
Yeah.
So yeah, be on the lookout for them. They're about to go crazy there. But
Yeah. Yep.
they took me in like immediately. So it's pretty cool.
How long did it take you to figure out who was who?
Actually not too long, honestly.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
yeah, it was like it seemed like it was gonna be hard for like the first like week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't really know how long it took me, but like you can tell them apart like pretty easily. It's kind of like Tom and Terry a little bit, where it seems like it'd be really really hard to tell them apart, but then as soon as you're around them every single day, you're like, oh, okay, this is not hard to tell them apart.
Yeah, agreed. Now, like, and I'm not even, been around Tom and Terry, but like seeing them and seeing their mannerisms and kind of how they carry themselves and like walk, like you're like, oh, okay. And even the hair, like Terry has a little more like,
yeah.
Tom is kind of a little more clean cut, but yeah.
That is what it is. I think it's the mannerisms and even the way they don't even like sound the same, really. Like maybe they do, but like they really don't once you like hear them talk a lot. So.
Yeah, they started at Iowa, correct? And then they went to Central.
Central, yep. And
then
now
they're
transferring out this year, yep. So
dang.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's Wartburg,
Yeah.
But so when you moved to Iowa, did you sort of know anything about Iowa wrestling and Southeast Polk and like what wrestling in Iowa meant or was? I mean,
yeah, so that's funny. When we were first getting into it, my dad would go on YouTube and he would put on the highlights of Cole and Shriver. So I think that's also kind of what got us. Yeah, I think that's also what kind of got us people too. He like, hey, you guys want to be really really good at wrestling? You watch this guy right here. It's just Cole at Fargo, just absolutely messing everyone up. Like he's the So that, and then like we would go to like like Tulsa Nationals, and then all those, and then we'd see those guys. Like if I was like, I had an Iowa guy in my bracket, or like I had him the next round or something, I'd be like, oh, I know this is gonna be a tough match, And then I originally thought it was gonna be like real crazy. Right when I got there, I was like, oh, like I don't know if I'm ready for this. And then I started wrestling the guys, like, okay, wrestling is just wrestling. Like no one's really like that much above,
Right. Especially if you're around them enough, like you start to get a feel, and then you start to figure things out because you elevate your game, and pretty soon, next thing you know, you're good.
Exactly. And that was a crazy thing too. So the first practice we went to for Siebel, right when we moved there, was in Ames, and my partner was Cole and Shriver, and I grew up literally didn't grow up, but like when I first started wrestling, I'd watch Cole and Shriver all the time, and I went in there, and then I remember we had a crazy scrap on day one. I think it was we used to do like first to like maybe like 5 or 6 takedowns, maybe like 10, something like that. And I remember we were out there for forever just scrapping. I think he got me, but that was when I was like, all right, like I can wrestle with pretty much everyone at this point. So, and that I really wasn't good at all back then. I think I just kind of scrapped hard a little bit. Because when you go to, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think when you go into a new room and you're kind of like, there's something a little bit to like prove, you have to raise your level. And I think every single time that happens, we have to raise your level a little bit. You're like, oh, like this is just wrestling, And then you just raise until you're just getting better.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was going to ask, when you said earlier that you wrestled freestyle for the longest time, really. When did you start incorporating folk style?
So all that first summer I started wrestling was just freestyle and Greco.
Okay.
And then I started getting into folk style like that next fall.
Okay.
So I always wrestled folk style, but not like I started out wrestling freestyle and Greco. It was kind of a crazy way to introduce wrestling, but that is that is the sport of the world, freestyle wrestling.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, and sometimes when you go into a room like that, like with the Seabolt room, it can be intimidating,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you got Colin Shriver and you're like, wow. So for you to like, there's two ways you can go. You can kind of shy away from the competition and sort of lower your level,
Mm-hmm.
or you can man up and raise your level, and just like you said, wrestling's wrestling, just get after it.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
But that first year at Southeast Polk, was it a struggle at times? Like just
Yeah.
everything in general?
Yeah. It was that like once I started getting into like the wrestling season, like the social part wasn't the struggle. It was like once I started getting into wrestling, um, that started getting a little tough, and then that was really the first year I cut weight, so I cut down to 120, and then I ended up breaking my elbow, um, like pretty early into the season, and then I had to wrestle through it, which that was like the first year where I actually had like deal with like some adversity, which that actually ended up at the time I was like, oh, I suck. I didn't even place for the state tournament. I was like, oh, I suck real bad. Like I shouldn't even be here. And then but that actually helped me a lot because then I started growing and I was like, all right, my elbow healed, and then that freestyle season I started doing way better, and then I was like, okay, that was actually probably a good thing for me. Like now I know what I need to do, and now I've experienced a little bit of like adversity through a tough wrestling season,
How do you wrestle with a broken elbow?
So like I didn't so for the longest time I didn't even know it. So it was like gradually happening. So there was like the like the bone right there was like slowly, it was like it was like a little hairline fracture first, but then
Mhm.
it would just hurt, but I never like said anything about it. So then it started growing, and then the growth plate ended up tearing off, and then that's when I eventually went in to the doctor, and then they were like, yeah, you should probably get this fixed. But then at that point it was like pretty late, and I was like, let's just wrestle through it. So then I got it fixed after that. But yeah, that was tough.
How do you wrestle with that? Like, I
It,
mean,
we literally just taped it up, and then yeah, this arm was pretty like it was weak, and it wasn't fun at all, but I got through it, so it was good at the end of the day. But I think honestly, I don't think the elbow is not really what was, I think, holding back. It was like more of like my mind telling me like, oh, your elbow's broken, you're not gonna be able to do anything. Um,
fair enough, yeah.
because coming into the year, I was like, all right, like I can do this, and then that happened, and I was like, oh, well, maybe it just next year,
Mhm.
But that was another learning experience, Just don't let the mind take over, or the weak mind take over, and then doesn't go well.
Yeah, like when you were wrestling, I guess, you know, were you not able to like suck in a single leg, or when you're riding, were you able to really use that arm to chop or to control wrists and ties and everything? Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head
Yeah,
around
yeah.
wrestling with a broken elbow in the first
Yeah,
place.
so that I could like, so pulling motions wasn't bad. Like it hurt obviously, but it wasn't bad. It was like whenever I was like like I had a thumb block, or like I was trying to push. That was when I had no strength, and that was when it was tough. So yeah, it was kind of wrestling a little bit with like one arm,
Hmm.
but yeah, it it really wasn't that bad, honestly, once I got it taped, because then so like we taped it up so crazy that like it was like barely, like I wasn't able to bend it. I wasn't barely able to like to pull anything in. So
Hmm.
it was kind of just like an arm that was just like, it was a stiff arm. It was
Yeah,
kind of, it was actually, now that I really haven't thought about that in a long time, but that was actually pretty crazy
yeah.
now that I think about that. Yeah.
Dang. And I mean, like you said, now you're out there wrestling, and it probably hurt from time to time, like certain motions at times in their match. You're just like, ah,
Yeah.
that hurt, that
Yeah,
sucks.
for
But
sure. I could feel it in my match, but it was never like a point in my matches where I was like, oh, I can't do this, because
yeah,
you're in that match and you have that adrenaline going. It hurts, but you're not like, oh, this is like, my arm's not gonna fall off, so like I'll be fine.
yeah. So you get surgery on that? Is that what ended up happening?
I just no, I really didn't even get surgery. They said that I could get surgery, or I got it casted up for like a long time, and everything just healed back. It's still like, even till this day, like I can't do bench. I can bench,
No
but
kidding.
like super super light. And it's weird because even when I do put on like pretty heavy weight, I'll be benching and then my right arm will start like raising above. It's like, well, I have to even it out. It's pretty tough. So I try to stay away from like any like tricep like stuff like that because it's still. I probably should have gotten the surgery honestly, but it healed back pretty good, I'd
How
say.
how long did you have the cast on? You said you had to have the cast on, or they said it was going to be a while. How long?
Yeah, it was. I don't really know how it was like. It was a couple weeks, but then so I got it off right, and then we were going to freestyle. So I was like, oh, I can do freestyle, right? And then I start wrestling, and then it starts getting even worse. So then, because it was feeling better after I got the cast off, and then it started feeling worse, and I had to get it back on. It was like that time was like for maybe like a month, and then after that, I couldn't even move my arm because it was so like it was so stiff. I remember it. I couldn't even straighten it out for a while, and it was all weak. It was pretty crazy.
So did that really shoot your freshman summer and spring away, like dealing with
Yeah,
that?
I wasn't able to go to Fargo, but then after I got so yeah, I didn't really compete. I don't know if I competed in one tournament that summer actually, but I knew I was getting better though because when I would after I got that off and I started getting my elbow figured out. I was still in that room with all those guys, and the guys that would go to Fargo and like all American stuff. Like I was like right with them, and I was beating them. So I was like, oh, like this, like I wish I could compete. And then yeah, but also it didn't really matter that I didn't compete because when that happened, like it clicked. I like okay, like another time, like I'm saying, like you figure out, just build. Like okay, I'm right with these guys right here. I can do this. So then that took me into my sophomore year, which um I had a little bit more confidence, but
Yeah, I was going to ask then how that, like, it's funny how you have more confidence going into your sophomore year without wrestling and
mhm.
competing and doing all that. Then if you know, like when you think about it, almost not competing and having a setback like that, in theory, should do the opposite of like now you're questioning like I just lost out all this time. How am I going to make it up? All that stuff, But it sounds like you did the opposite.
Yeah. So I think it was actually good for me because that was when I started doing my best wrestling. Is because I had to take a break, so it wasn't like I was constantly beating myself up. It was like a little break, and then it kind of reset everything. Have you ever experienced that where you go through a little bit of injury? Maybe it's like 4 or 5 weeks off, and then you come back. You're like, oh, maybe you're not in the best shape, but your body feels good. You have all the energy. Your mind is
Mhm.
refreshed. So it's kind of like that where I was like, okay, I'm feeling even better now.
Yeah, what did you do with your time? So like obviously you have time off, you can't wrestle. Like, did you still go to practice or did you since it forced you to take a step back, did you like hunker down and like play video games or something? I mean, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
not with your cast on your hand, but I don't know.
Yeah, there really wasn't much I could do. I went to practice, so I watched. That was one of the other things. TJ was I was so I stopped going to practice. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna waste my time going to watch practice if I'm not even wrestling. And TJ, I remember I'll never forget this. TJ texted me. He was like, hey, if you don't start going to practice and watching, like I forget exactly what he said, but it was basically along the lines of like if you don't even go to practice and watch, like you really don't care. It's like then you really don't even want to be part of this club. So I was like, oh, TJ's gonna kick me out of the club. So I started going to practice, watching. But yeah, just kind of just chilled that summer, honestly. Not I didn't really do anything that crazy. Just it was good.
Did you get back into soccer a little bit? Like, did you start kicking a soccer ball around?
I mean, if I was just like playing with my brothers and stuff, but
Yeah.
not like that was actually a good idea. That's what I probably should have been doing, honestly. But
Yeah.
no, just more like running and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you go, so you went and you had to sit and practice, huh? Hmm.
Oh yeah,
That would be tough.
it was
That'd
pretty
be tough.
brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I see his point. All right, Seabolt. I guess it was a good point. Did you
Yeah.
scrap with him at all?
Yeah. So going into my like junior and senior year, that was when I really started because that was when I was like 145 at that time. So then that's when I started wrestling with him. And then at first I was like real scared. I was like, oh, this TJ, he's so strong, he's big. And then I started wrestling with him. I was like, okay, like, and we would have pretty good scraps. And then yeah, Those were always fun.
Yeah.
We actually we wrestled a lot. Like honestly, like that. I think it was like my junior year summer. Me and TJ would wrestle a lot. Those were always fun because he still got it. I don't know about now.
Does he? He still got it?
I don't know about now. I haven't wrestled in a while, but back then, yeah, it'd be some good scraps.
Did you know who he was? You know, coming from Texas, like I wouldn't be surprised if you had no idea who like I grew up, you know, I graduated in 2010. Like Seabolt was just a pinch before my time. Like I knew who he was and like I watched him wrestle, but like I wasn't quite the same age. But like I knew who TJ, like you knew who TJ Seabolt was growing up in Iowa.
Yeah. I had no clue. I knew Seabolt wrestling because we always saw him at I guess I seen him coach at the Tulsa and stuff, but I didn't know how that he was a legend and stuff for Iowa wrestling. I had no clue. Yeah. But obviously as soon as I got there, everyone was I heard all the stories.
Yeah. You're some of them maybe myths. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this just dawned on me. You know, what did he think of you bleaching your hair? Did you know he did that when he was younger in high school?
I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Was he the one who bleached your hair actually this year? And whose idea was it?
No. That was kind of a team thing. We were kind of thinking like we need to do something a little different here for nationals, and then we just kind of came up with that idea. Maybe a little bit of copying like the Iowa State and stuff, but it was good for us. He did actually say something about that. Actually, he I think he saw a picture or something, and then he texted me. He was like, dude, what did you do to your hair? And then yeah, that was funny, but I don't think we're gonna be doing that again. That was a whole process. Because then right after national, I looked at my hair and I was like, dude, like what am I doing? And then I let it grow out because I didn't want to cut it because I hate having my short hair. So I let it grow out and then I tried to dye it back. Actually, just the dye went out and then it looked real dumb. So I eventually had to get it cut, but we'll see. I don't know if we'll be doing that one again. It was cool though. It was a good bond. It was a good team bonding thing. So
yeah. So I got out of high school in 2010. A couple years later, I wound up at Upper Iowa for a couple semesters. And I was on the wrestling team there. And a few of us decided to dye our hair black.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, it was awful. Oh.
Was it?
Yeah, well, I did the same process you did. So I dye it black. I'm like, okay, I look kind of like a Gomer. I don't want to cut it because I look worse with short hair.
Exactly, yeah.
So I tried to dye it back to blonde, and it just wasn't happening. So I eventually had to shave it anyway.
How it goes, which makes me ask, how did you get those? How did you get the braids? Because I actually like those.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
How long did that take you to grow your hair out before you were able to braid it?
So gosh, how long have I been growing my hair out? I've been doing it for a couple of years now, but I've always had generally long hair. I guess it's time to give a shout out. Her name's Rachel. She works at Modern Image here in Omaha, and she does a fantastic job. Every so often I'll get a wild hair and I'll just have her braid my hair and do something different. I always get some good looks.
Yeah. I like it.
She's really good, you know.
Yeah.
So
it looks pretty good. I was thinking maybe that's something that St. Cloud might pull out next year. We're all gonna pull up with the braided hair. Yeah,
do it. Yeah, it'd be cool. You know, it lasts me about 7 to 10 days, give or take. You know.
Oh, you gotta get it rebraided. You gotta get it rebraided every 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, it starts to fray a little bit, and the braid just like up top kind of just comes out. You know, the braids themselves will be pretty decent, but just everything up top starts to kind of.
Yeah.
But so yes, that's the unfortunate thing. You know, if I had somebody who I could pay less to do it, you know, I would. But she's she's awesome and great. So I just keep going to her. But yeah, I've had, I don't know, I've always had long hair, long-ish hair. I just look ridiculous with short hair.
Yeah, so I'm the same way.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I always try to grow my hair up, and then it gets to like a point where like
You have to push through it, man.
It gets. Yeah, I know. That's the hard part. It gets all puffy and stuff, and like, oh, I look like a freaking mushroom right now. Like, I gotta cut my hair. But then every time I cut my hair, I'm so mad. Like, now I look even more stupid. So you're saying just keep it.
Yeah, there's multiple of those. So like you'll shave it, and then as you grow out, you're like, oh, this looks kind of dorky. But if you just keep going and keep trusting the process, kind of like wrestling, you just keep trusting.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll grow out a little bit more, and you'll be like, all right, now I can actually style it, or I can push it back, or But yes, there comes a couple points where you're like, ugh, the hair's in my eyes. I can't do anything with it. It's just falling. Ugh. But if you fight through it, you'll get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. It just takes a while. But anyway, a little bit more about wrestling, I guess. When you decided, or not when you decided, when you got on the podium that sophomore year, was that kind of validation for you? Like, I'm just going through your process of like everything you've been through, and you hurt your elbow, and you move into a new school, and you didn't love wrestling, and now you do, and all of a sudden now you're starting to see the fruits of your labor. Like, that had to be kind of validating to some degree,
Kind of. 'Cause I really didn't finish getting on. Getting on the podium. I really wanted to win that year. So, getting on the podium wasn't like the most validating thing. It was more like I said, the kind of the training. I'm with these guys, Drake, Colin, all these guys, like. And I'm right there with them all the time, and then Riggins, like all those guys, and then I didn't finish the way I wanted to. What really was the validation was that summer. So I think that was the summer when Fargo got canceled, and then we kept wrestling, and we went to these duels. We had Night of Conflict. We had a bunch of the like Legend of Gold duels, a bunch of Ultimate Club duels. We had a bunch of these duels, and then I started beating these. Like, I got in the national rankings. I started beating the good kids, and that's kind of what validated me a little bit. Kind of gave me little bit more confidence. But that was actually a good summer because everything got shut down. Oh wait, no. COVID was like the junior year. I'm pretty sure. No. So COVID hit, and then everything got shut down right after sophomore year. So that summer, yeah. So I am right. And then it was like me, Drake, and Nate, and then Drew Isla. We went, and TJ. There was this barn. I don't know whose barn it was, but we went. That's like right when everything got shut down. We would just go there almost like every single day, and we would train, and then that was kind of what I think gave me a little bit more confidence then, because I started really, really like okay, like I'm starting to get a lot better at wrestling now. So
you just listed off some hammers in that Seabolt room. Was there somebody, off the top of your head that like just beat the brakes off you that you were like, ah, man, like you just listed like Riggins, and I'm just imagining going against Aiden Riggins, like, oh gosh.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Or maybe there wasn't. Maybe you were the stud in the room that was just, everyone was like, geez, Joel just beat the brakes off me.
No, I don't. See, that's the thing. That's what, like, no one would be really beating the brakes off anyone. It would be every time we'd go in there, it'd be like Drake could have his day. I might have my day. Riggins gonna have his day. Like it was always like these good scraps. And then I can't really remember anyone that really. Yeah, it was always just everyone kind of scrapping, but that's kind of how it is in a room like that when you wrestle those guys every single day. It was like, you kind of start figuring them out a little bit. So maybe if I went in there just cold and started wrestling Riggins, yeah, he probably would have beat me up pretty good. But like I had wrestled him so many times, so it was like we kind of knew each other pretty well.
Yeah. So then how sweet was it, or validating? How about that junior year when you came away with a state title? I mean, that's everything you worked for,
Yeah, that was cool. That was a good time. So I came off that summer, and then like my expectations were high for that year. I was like, okay, if I can't win this, if I don't win this year, like, not that it's a failure, but like like I see, like I know I can do it, so I should go out there and do it, right?
Right.
So yeah, that was pretty validating. That was a good time. It was
Yeah, that
cool
was a
too.
good time.
Yeah, it was cool too because like so Nate won it, and then I won, and that was like the first like brother duo we had at Southeast Polk at the same time, like the same state tournament. So that was a cool moment. And then we had also a really really good team that year too. So just I don't know if we won it that year or not. We might have won state duels and then lost in the or maybe we lost state duels and then won the individual tournament. But that was a fun year for us. We had a really really stacked team.
Yeah. Was that also that summer? Was that the summer where you guys won the junior freestyle
Yeah.
duels?
Yep.
How
So
sweet was that? Because
dude,
that was like
that
the
was
first time
dude,
since
that was
that was a
awesome.
big deal.
That was crazy. We had that team was crazy too.
Yeah.
It was like Nate, Drew, I think Kale Peterson was on the team, Drake, Ryder Block, me, Caleb Rachi, Riggins, and then there's so many more hammers too. Keeter was on that team. And then we went out there and we knew we knew that we were gonna do it too, because like if we were gonna go out there, we were gonna get it done. And that was a good year. That was a fun tournament. Uh, and then the next year we did the same thing. So we won two in a row.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that was fun, and it was cool because it was like majority of the team was Seabold guys. We
yeah.
had like Tate Knack. We had a bunch of other guys. There was a lot of I'm missing a lot of guys. There was a lot of studs on that team that weren't Seabold guys, but that was a fun year.
Yeah.
That was a fun summer.
Yeah. I bet. I mean, winning is always fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But following that up, winning is fun, but it doesn't last forever, you know?
Doesn't last forever. Yeah.
Because all of a sudden here comes some adversity, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Like, first off, I don't know which one came first, but I'll just start with this. Your senior year at the state tournament, what happened? Were you sick?
So yeah. So I
And again, like with the elbow, like we're not making excuse. I'm just wondering, honestly, like what
yeah.
happened?
Not trying to make excuses. It was so coming leading up to that whole week I knew so I was sick. I used to get like strep throat a lot. Um and then I was just run down. I was maybe cutting a little bit too much weight, and then it turned into like pneumonia at the time. And then I knew like that state, so we wrestled state duels. I'm pretty sure we won it, but like that last match, it was against Waverly. I told Jake, I was like, dude, I don't even know if I can wrestle this. I was sitting there like freezing. I was shivering out of fever. I couldn't breathe. Like it was bad. Um, and then going to that state tournament. Semis. I think at the time semis was on that first. No, is semis on that first day? Because you going to. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
hold on. When did they change it to like basically one match a day?
I think that was after that. So I don't know if I wrestled semis. I think it was that second day, yeah. So the first day of the tournament, the second day of us wrestling, because we had state duels.
Yeah,
I ended up dropping that match to Downey,
yeah.
which that was a crazy match too. But I didn't lose that match because I was sick. It definitely didn't help. But like he wrestled a really really good match. Like he's that
Right.
Ryder Downey's tough. So but and then so after that it was like I think so I was down pretty bad. Like I stayed the night in the hospital that night. Like I was after that match I couldn't breathe. Like I went to the emergency room, got like a breathing and then like a steroid shot to like open up my lungs because I had pneumonia pretty bad. And then I was like all right, I could wrestle like the last couple matches, but like I'm not gonna win the tournament, and so I just didn't do it. Which now looking back, I'm like maybe I should have just tried to wrestle, see what happened. Like I wasn't gonna die. I don't think like it was bad, but
I
I
don't
don't
think.
like it wasn't bad. Like it wasn't bad enough to where if I had like an inhaler or something like that, and I had that steroid shot, like it wasn't like it wasn't. I don't know. So looking back at that is a little bit of a regret I have, is not finishing out that tournament. But we still ended up winning the tournament as a team, so that was good. And then I wasn't even gonna go to the medal ceremony. They Justin Smith, which I'm actually happy did this. He went and picked me up to my house. I was like, Justin, I'm not going. Like I'm not going back to the tournament. And he picked me up from my house and was like, you're gonna get on that. You're gonna get on that stand. So I ended up getting my 6th place medal, and yeah, that was a good learning experience too. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, had to be tough.
it was tough.
I
Yeah.
mean, of course, like,
And
sheesh, all these expectations, and unfortunately just didn't happen.
Yeah, it was. I was at that time. I had no like. Now I'm getting better at like my wrestling mindset, right? Like
Right.
I'm realizing that like it's not about like, oh, if I win this second state title, like that's gonna complete me. Like I'm just trying to put my trust in God, and whatever happens, happens. I'm just gonna try to do the best of my ability. At that time though, I was like, it was like the end of the world. Like, oh, like I like wrestling, like it is not even for me anymore. Like this sucks. Like this, I can't believe this happened. Like this is my whole plan. I hadn't lost. I guess I lost. I lost to Riggins actually. No, that was a year before. Maybe. Yeah, that was a year before. I lost to Riggins in state dual finals. So I hadn't lost. I don't think I had lost that year. So I was like, I'm gonna have undefeated. I'm gonna be a 2-time state champ, and then that ended up happening, and I was like, it's just super down bad. But
Yeah.
now looking back at that was another good learning experience for me.
Yeah.
So.
And then I think it was right around that time, or maybe not quite yet, but when did you start to feel rumblings that like maybe Nate wasn't quite into it anymore? Because I'm wondering from your perspective, this is where I'm going
Yeah.
with this. I'm wondering from your
Yeah.
perspective how that impacted you as a brother of somebody who you love is going through this time of like, wow, I don't know how to help you,
Yeah. So at that time there was no like that wasn't like a thing. He wasn't even thinking about not wrestling. Like we were really that summer we had a good summer. He lost to Jack Forrest. Remember that best out of 3 series
Yeah.
that summer. And then but he wasn't like broken from that. Like he was disappointed that he didn't make the team, but he wasn't like that didn't break him. We went to Fargo. We had a good Fargo tournament. I think we won. We did win that year. He won the tournament, and then I go to Iowa, right? Because he originally committed to Iowa.
Yep.
And then so I had that first year. The year is going well, and then like as I'm going through it, I talked to him a lot, but like I didn't like talk to him too much. But then I hear that he tells me like, "Oh, dude, I got another bad concussion," and he's had a history of concussions since like we were in Texas. Like he would get bad concussions. But I just kind of shrugged it off as like, this is like he'll take some time off and he'll be fine. And then so he ended up taking some time off, and then he called me and he was like, dude, I don't even think I want to wrestle anymore. Like he just didn't want to come back to sports. Like, dude, I don't love it anymore, and if I don't love it, I'm not gonna do it. And that's the type of person he is. Where if he's not like fully into something, like no one's gonna make him wrestle just because he's Nate Jesuroga. He's like, I would rather go serve my country, which I respect. But like backing up to that, it was like he was supposed to the kind of our plan was he was gonna forfeit that last year of high school and then come live with me in Iowa City, and then he was just gonna train at the RCC at Iowa, and then until he was a freshman, but ended up getting talked out of that, and then kind of started that before it was even before that year even started the high school season. He got that concussion and then took that time off, and then like everyone was asking like, hey, why isn't Nate wrestling? Why isn't Nate wrestling? And then that's when he called me. He was like, yeah, dude, like I don't even think I want to do this anymore. And then for me, it was kind of like a thing where I wasn't gonna like. If Nate's set on decision, he's kind of set on that decision. It wasn't at the time. I was kind of like I was super disappointed. Like, dude, I'm here. Like, dude, this is like our plan. Like, because we were gonna go to the same college. Yeah, like originally, we went on that Iowa visit. We went to a couple other visits together, and then he committed to Iowa. I was like I was gonna go to UNI actually. I was gonna
Okay.
go to UNI, but then I was like, okay, we're like that was our plan. We'll stick together, and then I committed to Iowa, and then he ended up not wanting to wrestle anymore. And I think it was a little bit of like him not wanting to wrestle anymore, and then a little bit of like, dude, I can't. He was telling me like, dude, when I get on the wrestling mat and I wrestle, when I don't even hit my head, I get bad headaches like right after. He's like, I don't even want to do this. And then he started getting like a real like bad mood. Like he was kind of in a dark place, I think, because the concussions they mess with your head. Like it kind of changes like kind of not who you are, but like yeah.
Yep. It happened to me. That's how I know.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you do know it's not. I've had one too, like not that bad, like a minor concussion, and it's not. You kind of puts you in a little bit of a dark place. So then, yeah, that's kind of what happened from like my perspective. There's a lot that goes into it, and then it was cool though, cause like a couple weeks ago he was back. He got back, so he just shipped off to Virginia. He finished all his training. He was back for like it was like 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, we were back in Iowa. We went to the Seabolt room. We wrestled together. It was fun. I was trying to get him back to wrestling, but he's kind of locked in. He's kind of locked into what he's doing now. But he's still really, really good. What was that?
What's he doing?
Okay, so he's doing like he's called like EOD. So it's like bomb technician type stuff. So where he's like loading the bombs onto like the ships, like those huge like what are those called, like the carriers.
Yeah.
He's like doing that stuff, and then like a little like bomb diffusion type stuff. He tried to explain to me. I didn't really I didn't get it super well, but that's kind of the gist of it. So yeah, he originally he was gonna go. He went to Buds, like the Navy SEAL school.
Okay.
And then he ended up like dropping out of that. He said it was tough. It wasn't like, I don't know. That's kind of a story that you're gonna have to. He told me a little bit about it, but that's kind of, I don't really want to speak for him.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. I think that he's gonna go. What he tells me is after he finishes his little, what, I don't know if it's deployment or what it is that he's doing, his term, he's gonna go back and try for Buds again, because his knee was a little messed up, and then I think he wasn't ready for it. Like, you got to be really, really good at swimming. You got like those guys, those Navy SEALs, they're like those guys are all like 6 feet plus, like you got to be able to keep up. So I think he's going to be ready for it the next time though. So, yeah, it's good. I'm happy for him. He's in a good place right now. So for a long time, I thought, not a long time, but, I don't know, I feel like he kind of lost his way a little bit, but I've been talking to him a lot, and he's doing really well. So yeah, he's been really into like just serving God and everything. So it's good.
Nice. So where is, like, he's enlisted? Is he in a branch of the military? It sounds like. What branch?
Yeah, Navy.
Okay, he's in the Navy.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, good for him.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, I did see that picture. I think Seabolt posted it, that he was in the room, and I was like, whoa.
Dude, it's crazy. He's like big. He weighs like more than me now.
I saw him because I think the picture was with him with his shirt off, and I was like, whoa.
He's massive. Legs are like freaking tree trunks. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, he's doing well. We were wrestling, and I was like, all right, like he's gonna be super out of shape. He's not. He's gonna be a little rusty. Like, nope. That dude's freaking. He's still insane. I was like, bro, if you don't come back to wrestling right now, like you're wasting like. But no, I was just joking. Like, what he's doing is what he's doing, and that's what God has for him. So. Yeah.
And so, interestingly, so like that kind of changed your path a little bit. So you go to Iowa, and why did you ultimately end up transferring out? Because, I mean, first, it sounds like there was maybe some hesitation in going there in the first place, because you only went there really, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because Nate was going to go there.
Yeah, it wasn't really all of that, but like that played a part in it. It was, but it was also, like Iowa. Like, I can be Like, this is Iowa, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so, but I don't really, the reason for transferring was just like, I need my opportunity. Like, I'm in there, I'm wrestling with those guys, like, Real Woods, Max Mirren, like all those guys, Caleb Rossi, like I'm in there, I'm scrapping with him. It's like the same thing. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm ever going to get my opportunity. And like, I know how good at wrestling I am. Like, I can't, like, I don't want to sit there for 4 to 5 years and just like not wrestle, you know, wrestle some open tournaments.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I kind of gotta make a little bit of a change. And it was really nothing. It was nothing against Iowa because those guys are great. It wasn't like there's nothing I regret about going there either because I got a lot better at wrestling. I met a lot of great people, and then it was a great time. And I learned a lot about myself. So that was cool. And then yeah, Iowa was a fun time. We so all those not our whole class, but a lot of our teammates from Iowa, Riggins, Jace Rhodes, all those guys,
Ayala.
Drake, like Caleb and Drake were already there, but like us, like our class, Carson, Carter,
Oh, yes.
all of them, like we were all there together as like freshmen, just trying to find a way, and that was fun. Like we had a great time. That was pretty crazy though, because then I ended up like I was the first one. I was like, yeah, guys, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna transfer. Like after that second year, I was like, I need to like go do something else. And that first time I was like, no, you're not. There's no way you're not transferring. And then it was crazy because Drake Rhodes, he was my roommate at the time. He was at SCSU. He had a great year. He was never even thinking about transferring. I was like, dude, you're really good too. Like you can anywhere you can be, you're gonna go crazy, right?
No.
Riggins ended up like he had a great year, and a couple other guys, but Carson and Carter. So yeah, it was just like I said, God's plan, and that's kind of how it worked out. And yeah, I don't regret really anything, honestly. But and then so what's really crazy is I go in the portal, I check some places out, and then I end up committing to Cal Poly.
Yes,
right?
I did see that. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. So I ended up committing to Cal Poly, which those guys over there are great too. I was out there. I was living out there for like 8 weeks. We had a training phase. But that school was like it's not Ivy League, but it's like it's top tier. It's up there. It's like they say it's just as hard. And my grades coming out of Iowa, they were good, but it wasn't like that level. So I had to take these classes, these summer classes, for them to get in, and I needed like A's and B's. And I ended up getting like C. I ended up like getting a C in a class, and then like a B, and then like I don't know what the other grade was. I didn't fail. I didn't get like an F in any of the classes, but I didn't get like the grades to get in. And then they were like, all right, well, we can still try to get you in, but like if you don't get in, you're gonna have to just like basically lose a year until next year until we get you in next year, because then we'll have you get those classes done. And then this was like 3 or 4 weeks before school started.
Oh my God.
So I had known Coach Costanzo of St. Cloud, and then I went back home because I was living out there. I went back home like not knowing. That was a time where I was like, dude, I might be done wrestling, you know, like this is
wild,
like not good. And then
3 weeks.
yeah, it was crazy too because I was having a great time out there too. We had a good training phase. I was out there with the Lamers, like those guys are great partners. Coach Tarita is a really good coach.
Luca and the Wicks, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Wicks were there. Those guys are awesome. Train with those guys. Coach Chewy. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but everyone calls him Chewy.
Yeah.
He wrestled Okie State. That's a great dude. So then I knew, I was like, oh, this is not working out, and that was like my plan. Like I was really happy. I was excited about the year. I was like, okay, this is my year right here. And then that ended up not working out. I was like, I might be done wrestling. And then I called Coach Costanzo. I was like, hey, do you have a spot for me? He's like, hey, just come. He said just pack your things and just come on to campus. We have a place for you. So it all ended up working out.
Yeah, when I heard ultimately that you end up at St. Cloud State, like, I'll tell you, that is not a place that most like that people from Iowa, like for some reason, Iowa to Minnesota is not, it doesn't happen all
Yeah,
that
I
much,
know that. Yeah, that is true. I
you
wish
know?
that I haven't really noticed that, but until like I did it, I was like, you know what? I haven't really seen anyone go from
No,
Iowa to Minnesota at all.
no.
Because you have
And
Minnesota to Iowa sometimes, like Glazier,
all the time.
Kennedy,
Yep. Yes.
a
Yes.
bunch of other guys.
Yes. Yeah. Mac Ryder was the one big one that went, he went to Minnesota, the University of Minnesota.
Hmm.
And actually it's funny now we're talking about it. A Southeast Polk guy just committed to Minnesota. So,
Oh yeah, Nika.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty
I
awesome.
was like, wow, yeah, good for him,
Yeah.
But St. Cloud State, yeah, not a lot of Iowa up there,
No,
you know.
not at all.
So when I
But
saw
I
you
had,
go there, I was like, that's not, it was unexpected. Just like I said, it's not a path that
yeah.
people normally take. So,
And I didn't really know anything about St. Cloud State either. That was the funny part. I knew
yeah.
that they're like, all right, this is the top tier D2 program, and I don't know Coach Costanzo, but I've heard about him and I've met him before. He's a great
Hmm.
guy, right?
Yep. Yep.
Which is funny. The first thing he says to me when he called me the first time was like, it's like, hey, Jesuroga. He's like, is that Italian? I was like, oh, it's a Spanish name, but yeah, I am Italian. And then he's like, yeah, well, us Italians, we gotta stick together. And I was like, okay, yeah, I like this guy, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of my dad a little bit. So he's a good dude. Yeah. So it ended up being like the best thing for me. Like I love it here. The team is like one of the best teams I've ever been on. All the guys are awesome. Obviously Costanza's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, Coach Brady Wilson, awesome. Like so, yeah. It ended up working out, which is just God's plan again. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know. I had no. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I might have started working HVAC. My dad was like, "Hey, like wrestling you can start making money right away. Let's get you
Mhm.
into some HVAC." I was like, dude, I'm too good. Like I have more to give, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess it's, now that I think about it, I mean, Iowa has a lot of wrestling. First off, they have the three state schools, but then they have like Wartburg, Upper Iowa, Loris,
Mhm.
Dubuque, Central. Um,
Mhm.
I'm leaving some out, so sorry, but like there's a lot of
Yeah.
schools in Iowa that you can go to that like St. Cloud State like isn't one that gets talked about a lot, but I mean it's an amazing school. They're really
Yeah.
really good,
Mhm.
obviously, what were your expectations when you got there? I mean, um, being a D1 guy, going to a D2 room, like did you have any ego or, I mean, be honest, like, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just picturing like going from D2 or D1, especially Iowa to D2. I mean, there can be some sort of like, I'm going to be the man maybe.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. There was a little bit of that, but it really wasn't about like, oh, like I'm from Iowa or
Yeah.
a D1 guy. Like um wrestling's wrestling, like I said, like I want to be I think I'm the guy because I wrestle and I know how good I am, and I haven't even got to like my peak yet. So like that's why when I come on, like coming on any campus, like I'm gonna think like, hey, I'm gonna be the guy here, right? It's just like it doesn't really matter where I am or like what it is. But yeah, it was a little bit of that, which also it felt pretty good because being in that Iowa room, it was kind of like there's so many of these guys that are like the best, the best, the best. So it's hard to be like, um, there's so many of the guys, right? So when you go there, it's kind of like, okay, I know I'm gonna get the coaching attention I need, and then like, um, just like more time where I can just pour into myself.
Yeah.
Um, rather than like, oh, this guy's got a duel on Saturday. Let's help him get ready for this one. Instead of like, oh, I need to get what I need to get in.
Yeah. So how much fun was this year? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you had a pretty good year, I would say. Team and
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah.
individually, like.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was probably one of the most fun years I've had in wrestling, honestly.
Mhm.
It reminded me a lot of like those old like Southeast Polk days where like the whole like we were just going to these road trips together as a team, and we're there to kick butt, and
Mhm.
just it was a lot of fun. We had the year didn't obviously ended up the way we wanted to
Yeah.
as a team and individually, but like going into the year we were ranked number one. We had all 10 guys ranked. We won national duels. I beat the guy that beat me at in the national finals. So then going like from the start to that point, it was like, okay, like this is awesome. Like we're having a great time. It's not really even about like going out here and trying to um just squeak matches out and winning. It's more about just, oh, I'm having a lot of fun out here wrestling. Like I'm just with my friends and this is just something we do. We go out here and we wrestle, right?
Mhm.
Um, so that was fun. And then obviously the year didn't really end the way we wanted it to, but then again, that's just wrestling, like you win some and you lose some, and I
Mhm.
still had a fun time, and I know the team still had a fun time, and we all like we bonded together in the wins and the losses. So, um, yeah, I contribute a lot of the year to like the leaders that brought like again I come to this new school, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Um, don't really know any. I guess so. I had an old teammate from Iowa actually, Jude Link. He's from Minnesota. He transferred to St. Cloud after our first year there, and then so I knew him, and then obviously Cool Glazier. Um, but then I didn't really know many of the other guys. But then I come in, and then Colby Noss, our 49-pounder, he's a great leader. Him and Don Murphy, our 97-pounder, like those guys are great. They took me in, um, and really just led super well. So that made it really fun. It kind of took the pressure off me. It was just kind of like um, let those guys do their thing, and then I'm just gonna kind of focus on wrestling and doing what I can to help the team out. So it was good.
Yeah. And how did you settle on a major as well? Like, because you were at Iowa for 2 years, so now you have two
Yeah,
years worth of credits. I mean, from an academic standpoint, I'm just curious for my own sake, like, how did that all work out?
yeah.
Oh,
So at Iowa, I was like I'm a sport and rec management major.
okay.
So that's a pretty big uh, major here as well at St. Cloud. So it would kind of easily transfer
Gotcha.
in a little bit. Some of my credits didn't transfer over, so that I still kind of got to get that figured out a little bit because there's a lot of classes I really don't want to take over again. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it wasn't crazy hard transition. It was same major. But honestly, here I think they take it even a little bit more serious than at Iowa, because at Iowa it's a lot of like Tippy School of Business,
Hmm.
like those are the big ones, and then sports and rec management is kind of just like it's a major that's like not that important for everyone else. But here it's a bigger major, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, good. I'm glad things kind of you talked about a lot of adversity, some triumphs, tribulations,
Yeah,
and what, you still got 2 years left.
2 years.
So,
Yep.
hey, you know, um, did you give any advice to Justice? I know the recruiting window has now opened, and I think he
Yeah,
is old enough to be involved in that. Did you give him any pointers, any tips, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
to look
So
out for?
yeah, for sure. So one of the big things obviously is you got like finding the right place for you is like that's kind of like you can be as good of a wrestler as you want to be, but like if you're not in the right environment, um, things don't go as well, right? So going to a place that really I told him like you gotta go to a place that really values you, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then like it's not all about like, oh, like they promised me the starting spot, right? But like going to a place where like I can come in and I can help this team out immediately, or not immediately, but Because that dude's really, really good. Like, he's gonna be I think he's gonna be might be one of the best Jesurogas for sure.
What?
But yeah, he's real good. I've been wrestling him a lot this summer. So that's been fun. It's fun because he's finally like he's almost like my size now. And then before I never really got to wrestle him. He's always been a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And kind of like he's kind of like the baby. We call him the baby, right? So he kind of got babied a little bit. Now he's kind of coming to his own, you know. So it's been good. I think I've been helping him out a lot. Just kind of giving him a little bit better feel than some of the normal people he wrestles. So I think that helps him a lot whenever I come back and train with him. But yeah, just the decision is gonna be it's gonna be always gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But I think if you kind of just put your trust in God and your family and and the coaches that you're going there, he'll find the right place. And I know when you go on, what I also told him is when you go on these recruiting visits, the coaches like they'll show you this crazy like, oh, like this is this, like they'll be like, and then when you get there, or I've heard, this is not really my experience, but I've heard this from a lot of people. It's a lot different when you get there.
Yeah.
So just kind of like seeing through kind of like the bullshit a little bit. It's pretty big.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see what he does. He's got his grades. He's got to get his grades a little bit in order a little bit. But he's good enough to go. I think he's good enough to go wherever he wants. Trying to get him down to St. Cloud for a little visit.
Hey, yeah.
That'd be cool. But because he could be a factor like his first year, you know.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. So we'll see what happens.
What about Jed? What can we expect from Jed?
Jed's in the soccer mode, you know.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's all into soccer. He tried to get him to wrestle. He wrestled for like a couple years, 2 years maybe. He didn't. He's not like it at all.
That's okay.
But it's not even it's really, I don't know if he doesn't like it or he doesn't like the competition aspect of it. Because that's kind of how I was too, where it's like, oh, dude, I hate going out there and losing to some other kid. Having my friends and my family watch me lose like that. That's
terrifying.
Sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
So a little bit of the competition anxiety, I think, which something that we all have to get over, you know. So I always talk to him like when I'm home, me and him will just wrestle, and he's actually good too. Like he knows, like he's got good positioning, like he's actually good at wrestling. I'm like, dude, like you're a really good wrestler. And but when he gets out, like, and he doesn't want to wrestle anyone else besides for his brothers, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. He's big into soccer, and then us as a family, we don't really want to force him to wrestle because, like, dude, this is your life, and if you like soccer, we like soccer too, you know. Like if I would have stuck with soccer and gone all the way, like what I thought I could have done, I wouldn't have a regret of I didn't wrestle, you know.
Right.
So like, it is what it is, you know. You can learn a lot of stuff from wrestling, though. That's what I think. You can learn a lot of mental toughness, a lot of ways to get past that anxiety and kind of just surrendering the outcome. That's what I think the biggest wrestling lesson is, especially when you get to a higher level. And I think that's a lesson that a lot of people need to learn because, like, surrendering the outcome in life too, because it's just like it goes into everything, you know.
Yeah.
Like you do your best. You try to do everything you can, but like the outcome, you're gonna probably fail in anything you do a bunch of times. So that's what I try to explain to him. Like, it's like learning that lesson from wrestling is a lot easier than learning that lesson from life, you know? And you're going to learn that lesson from life. Just letting whatever happens happen. You just go out there, do what you can.
Yeah. Control what you can control.
Exactly.
And the chips will fall where they may. And if you do everything if you do everything you possibly can to put yourself in a situation to be the best you can, and you end up not being first, but third or fifth or fourth, whatever, like you did everything you could, and that's just the way, unfortunately, it fell.
Isn't it like that's like the age old lesson that like your parents told you and everything, but then as you're a kid, you're
Oh,
like, dude, you're just like, this is
yeah,
stupid. Like
yeah,
I've
yeah,
heard, like, shut up. But like then you just get older, like that's the way life goes. You can't control like everything.
yeah,
Like this is, you just try to go have fun and do your best work.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There is one last thing I wanted to ask you though. What was your expectation going into this year? You know, um, Going from Iowa to St. Cloud State, and actually going from Iowa to almost to Cal Poly, 3 weeks before school starts, you're going to St. Cloud State. There's just a lot of moving parts there that I'm just wondering where your head was at, like when you stepped on the mat at St. Cloud State. Like, did you have expectations of winning a national title, or were you just
Yeah.
like, I'm just trying to get better at wrestling right now because there's just a lot that was going on?
Yeah, obviously just trying to get better at wrestling, but like the goal is to be a national champ. So yeah, I'm not putting everything into all the pressure, because that's what I used to do for the state title. So put all the pressure,
Right.
like I have to win the state title. But then I wrestle like garbage, because then I'm trying not to make a mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, trying to get better at wrestling every day. But yeah, the goal is to be a national champ, right? So that was always in mind. Like, all right, if I didn't, it didn't work out at Iowa, it didn't work out at Cal Poly, I'm at St. Cloud, I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna be a national champ. And
Mm-hmm.
that didn't even work out either, you know?
Not
So
yet.
like that's how it goes, you know? But the best thing is I got another chance next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my goal next year is be a national champ, but I want to be the best wrestler in D2. I want to dominate everyone. So, whether that happens or not, I'm gonna put my best foot forward. That's my goal. That's what's in my head. So, and I'm doing I'm trying to do the right things to get me there. So that's all really, yeah, I have expectations, but not that I'm trying to make them less to where they're gonna hold me back from reaching them. Does that
Mm-hmm.
kind of make sense? Because
Yeah.
that's kind of what's been in the past. Where like, oh, I know how good. Exactly what I was saying. Oh, I wrestle with all these guys. I know how good I am. I know how good I am. But I get out there and it's like, dude, that was like a shell of myself. That was like,
Mm-hmm.
that was like 70-60% of like my actual wrestling. When I let it fly though, like, dude, I don't know. Like I think good things happen. You know.
Yeah. And I've been doing this for 3.5, 4 years, and like it's but the thing is, like, talking to athletes like you who are high level and trying to get them to turn the corner. That corner is so difficult, man. Of
Mhm.
like just
Mhm.
trying to just go out there and be loose and let it fly. Like,
Yeah.
it's so easy to say, but it's
Yeah.
so
It's
difficult to
so easy to
do.
say, so hard to do, especially when you get in that moment. And then
Right.
the craziest thing is too, is that once you think you figured it out, right? Like there were some matches here, I was like, oh, I figured this out. Like, dude, I
Yep.
just went out there
Mm-hmm.
and I did,
Mm-hmm.
I flowed, right? I got in that flow
Mm-hmm.
state and I flowed. And then I go to that last match in the national tournament, and even those matches leading up, oh, I'm trying to just squeak by. I'm trying to win, right? So then it's like you think you have it figured out, you don't have it figured out. But then like then I learned, like now I know, you know?
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, the guy you wrestled was a returning national champ.
Yeah.
You know, um, so yeah, tough way to go end the year, but I'm sure it just only adds some fuel to the fire.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
So,
I'm
anyway,
excited.
no, me too. Me too. I mean, it gives me a reason to root for St. Cloud State, you know?
Oh yeah. We got
So,
we got some hammers coming in next year. Um
yeah.
and then obviously our team this year, hammers. So it's fun. It's fun wrestling. So everything was always like, oh, D1, and then like
Mhm.
I never watched D3 or D2. And then past year, I've been getting into D2, D3 wrestling a little more. Like, oh, these guys are good too. Like this
Yeah.
is fun to watch.
How
So
crazy was that D3 tournament? I mean,
crazy,
unbelievable.
crazy. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And yeah, I've kind of talked to a couple of the guys who are on the the UNK team, the Lopers team, and like,
Mhm.
I mean, they just caught fire. They just caught fire,
They did.
and it
It
was just
was
like,
insane.
yeah, so tip of the cap to them, essentially,
Yeah. And they were able to qualify, like I think maybe eight, maybe like all 10 guys, maybe
Right.
9 or 10 guys. So then we had a bad regional tournament. We sent, I don't know, like 6 of us. 6 of us to the national tournament, and so that doesn't help us. And then we had some bad early round losses, and then they started rolling, and we started losing some momentum.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But if you're a wrestler and D2, you know darn well St. Cloud State's going to be there.
Oh yeah.
Next year and the year after
Oh, yeah.
and the year after. They're not going away. It didn't happen this year, but that doesn't mean anything for next year.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
maybe you'll be showing up in braids. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you need to.
I think I'm thinking about like the Sean O'Malley cornrows.
There you go.
That could be a cool look. We'll see. I like the braids though.
It would be. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Last question? Did you ever talk to Costanzo about bleaching his hair or doing anything to his hair?
So we try to get him. We didn't even tell him that. So Coach Costanzo, he's pretty old school. So
yeah.
We didn't even really tell him. We showed. So it was me and a couple other guys showed up the first practice with our hair, and he looks at us. He's like, "What did you guys do?" And then I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. My hair is normal. And yeah, we tried to talk him into it. He was not about it. So
not surprised.
Yeah.
But fun though. I mean, fun that you tried to loosen him up a little bit. I'm sure he's a loose guy if you get him in those moments,
He is. It's just when he's in those moments, those go mode moments, it's kind of like he's locked in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually had him on. Geez, has it been a year already? Year and a half ago.
You had him on here?
Yeah, to try to pick his brain about. Well, I have to repost it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to repost it. But yeah, to just pick his brain, the dude's been doing it for so long and has been so good for so long. I'm almost tell me your secrets.
Yeah.
Deal, but just kind of get to know him on a personal level and the respect. Because like I said, man, when you think of D2, it's St. Cloud State,
Mm-hmm.
and now Kearney's obviously UNK.
Kearney, yeah.
Central Oklahoma, ooh boy.
Yeah.
Ooh, Nelly.
So it's gonna be. Then I think the team race next year is gonna be a lot of fun to watch, and then I think also some of these individual matches, I got to get my get back. We're 1-1 versus Gabe Johnson, and there's a couple other matchups that I'm really looking forward to seeing. If I was a fan, I'd be tuned in.